Hello again, fellow BeachBum traders. Welcome to our weekly trading game plan for the week of September 19th through September 23rd. This is part 2 of our weekly trading game plan, where we will look at stocks to add, particular individual stocks to add to our watch list, to our bullpen, to our shopping list for the upcoming trading week of September 19th through September 23rd. So welcome to the live stream, Spacula, Walter Lyons, David Spielgoff. If somebody could give me a thumbs up on the sound, that would be very helpful. And the video. So if you haven't seen part 1 of our weekly trading game plan for this week already, called Prepping for the Next Fed Rate Hike, we would highly recommend that you take a look at part 1 of our weekly trading game plan for this week. Again, prepping for the next Fed rate hike. Again, we talked about in part 1 that the focus for the first part of the week is going to be prepping for the next Fed rate hike, which we certainly expect. We expect a 75 basis point. That's my expectation, my opinion. So we'll be prepping for that in the first half of the week and then reacting to it in the second half of the week. So we'll look at individual stocks, ETFs, etc. That can help us both prep for that Fed rate hike and then react to it, however the market chooses to react. So welcome also Tanavir, glad to see you as well. So we'll go ahead and get started. So again, if you haven't seen part 1, prepping for the next Fed rate hike, we'd highly recommend you view that. It's got our market analysis, our strategies, etc., that we're going to apply now in selecting individual stocks for our watch list, etc. So just FYI for those in the live stream, I was unable to activate my hotspot, so I'm still battling with the hotel Wi-Fi here in Orlando. So if I do cut out, I hope you will bear with us, be patient, and I will try to recover as quickly as I'm able. And we'll probably talk about some of the lessons learned for trading while traveling and consulting while traveling in a future video. So again, we appreciate your patience and understanding, and if you'll bear with me, I'll battle through this and we'll get through our game. So firstly, we'll talk about our trade update. We didn't make a lot of trades last week. It was pretty choppy. Obviously, we went into a decline after the CPI and PPI data, and so things were pretty much just kind of dropping, and we were waiting to see a good bottom. But we did go long yen. We've had time. Yen is the leveraged ETF, which is long on the Chinese tech stocks, and as we'll see, driven that down to a low. So we went long on yen, long Chinese tech. As you all have heard my strategies for a year or so, I prefer to short China, but in this case, since they had driven it down to a bottom, we saw an opportunity that there's potential catalysts with some reopening of some of their cities, etc. Any good news could give us a pop in yen. So again, we went long on yen on the 14th at 501. We'll take a look in Webull in a second at the chart where we went long and our strategy going forward with that. So I'm going to jump over to the people. If you're not already using Webull, they're still offering their 12 free stocks. Again, I won't belabor that today, but if you're not using Webull, it's our preferred trading platform, and you can get up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to about up to as much as $3,000. So you can see we went long on yen on the 14th. What I saw, I'm going to zoom this in a little bit. You see this gap, big gap down on the, well, that was the 16th. Here's the 14th. So I was up at 4 a.m. and I was looking at the Hang Seng, which is the Chinese stock market, at pre 4 a.m. and it was green. And since they had been driving this down, driving the Chinese stocks down, it had been red for several days. I saw it as green, and I thought, okay, here's the opportunity. We should get a pop. An upswing in yen. And it was interesting that it didn't really react so much to the Hang Seng index as it did. It seems to react more to the NASDAQ tech stocks. And since they were driving tech stocks down after CPI, etc., the Chinese tech stocks seemed to go with it. So you can see on Friday it suffered a big decline. Again, I think that was more, and the Hang Seng was down on Friday. But again, I think it was reacting more to the U.S. tech stocks, the NASDAQ tech stocks, than anything going on specifically in China. So we're still holding this. You can see, hopefully it'll swing back up. One of these days we'll get some news on a reopening. See it rebalances, so you're going to gap up, gap down at 4 a.m. So there's still an opportunity for you if you want to go long Chinese tech and look for one of these catalysts. There's an opportunity here. Okay, hopefully I'm back. If somebody can confirm. Okay, looks like I'm coming back, so that's good. Hopefully you've got some audio. So I was just talking about the fact that, if you want to get real-time trade alerts, you can get them through our Patreon. We have the alerts channels in our Discord, etc. if you're interested in getting those notifications. So. Okay, let me get the screen share going again. Looks like it dropped that. Again, I apologize for the spotty Wi-Fi here. And yeah, someone commented, you think hotels could get better Wi-Fi, but again, and I'll put this in a video. Our lessons learned about trading while traveling, etc. Is we need to use our hotspot. Is one of the main lessons learned we learned from this trip is we need to activate our hotspot. Unfortunately, I tried to do that yesterday, was unable to activate it, so we're still struggling with the hotel Wi-Fi right now. So. I appreciate you all bearing with us. So it looks like we're back. So let's talk about our watch list updates. I've added several, made some changes. The first one is this ADES, which is Advanced Emission Solutions. You can see it popped up in one of my queries as trading below cash. So I added it to the watch list on the 12th. Again, just a note. Reminder is any intra-week or intraday changes I make to my watch list. In our Patreon and get those updates. So again, we added this one on the 12th. You can see they announced a merger with another company. This is a pollution and treatment controls stock. As we'll see, it seems to be holding up pretty. And so we're kind of keeping an eye on it. Might deserve a due diligence video. We'll see, but again, as you'll see in the chart, it seems to be holding up pretty well, even in the bear market. And again, this is the climate change theme, green energy theme. They do pollution controls for coal plants. So I kind of like the thesis behind it, and it seems to be holding up. BDRY, we took it off the watch list as it had already run up. It's possible some of you caught that and profiting from that run up in BDRY, which is dry bulk shipping. And to answer your question, Douglas, yeah, we're still in Orlando. I think we'll be back later today. So. We've had EURL, which is a long bull on Europe. And again, we saw Europe got beat up severely. So we're looking for a bottom and an opportunity there. Again, overreaction to the Fed rate hike might give us a good opportunity. It's been choppy, bouncing up and down. So we hope we might be able to get an opportunity to go long Europe in that area. KOLD, as you all know, we've been talking about longing and shorting natural gas. I know a number of our fellow BeachBum traders have done very successfully, made some good money. Short-term trading, day trading, scalping natural gas using KOLD, the YINN versus boil. We'll have a position if we spike natural gas up to its all-time high again. It's very volatile, very choppy. Again, if you're a short-term trader, there's plenty of opportunities. Yeah, good joke, Douglas. I missed the cold. I'm in Florida. Yeah. So SATS, we talked about, we had it in our bullpen last week, as you'll see, and I've done a due diligence video on it that you can watch. The link is in this Google document. It's currently unlisted. Again, just a reminder, our notes for our weekly trading game plans are Google documents. They're in a public Google Drive folder. And the link to that folder is included in the description box below, so you can access all these links, all the tools, etc., that we're using. We can see, SATS is like a turnaround play. Looks like it held up okay, so we'll take a look at it. We've also talked about trading volatility. We saw a pop in the volatility based on those CPI and PPI numbers. So volatility has run up. It is retracing to its mean right now, calming down a little bit. It didn't really peak over 30. So if you want a long volatility, there's two options we've been watching, which is UVXY and VXX. And when we get to our Etf spreadsheet, we will see the risk reward profile differences in those two ETFs, and either one of them is an option. They have a little bit different strategies, different profiles, so whichever you prefer. So again, none of this is financial advice. This is for education and hopefully entertainment purposes only. And we talked about yen, that we're already long yen, but there may be opportunities for you if you're interested in that thesis. So again, we'll jump over to our watch list in Webull and flip through these. Again, another nice thing about Webull is you can have any number of watch lists for different themes. We've got them for our different watch list, our real time versus our bullpen, etc. Okay, so here is ADES, which is that pollution control guy. I'll zoom out a little bit. You can see it's kind of bottoming. Looks like it made a nice bottom. Looks like it's possibly turning up a little bit. So again, I'd be looking for it, 328 or below as an entry point. Again, it does look like it's starting to swing back up, even though it had been, pretty steadily declining for some period of time. So it looks like we might be getting that turnaround. Again, we'll be watching it. CHNA is one. It's a China biopharma ETF. And we put this in the watch list during this week, moved it up from the bullpen. As you can see, it's very choppy. It's a very low float. Again, this is kind of the turnaround play on China. Instead of being technology, this is biotech or biopharma. I'm a little bit questionable about this because it is so choppy. It is so illiquid. I was watching it and there were very minimal trades on Friday. Again, it's, minimal trade, pretty illiquid. So just be careful with this guy, but you can see it does jump up and down. So we're going to keep an eye on it. I might pull it if it's just too illiquid and too choppy. We'll see. Here's EURL, which is the long on Europe. We've had this around for a while. You can see it's, bottoming, but it's been a decline. So we're just looking for a nice stable bottom, turn up. You can see it looks like it double bottomed around that 1350 on Friday. And we'll have to see what the sentiment is on Europe in the futures on tomorrow morning. So I'll look at UVXY. David Spielvogel is asking about a sell target on UVXY. I'll talk about that in a second. KOLD, again, very choppy. You can see how volatile it is. We had, a nice run up the past couple days as natural gas declined. Again, you can see very volatile, a lot of opportunities here. I tend to buy when it bottoms, when natural gas hits a new all-time high, and then, trail this guy with a stop through these pivot points. And then when it rolls over, we take profits and then rinse and repeat. So Douglas PC says, SQQQ, again, we'll talk about opportunities for playing in the bear market, a down market. And congratulations, Douglas, is using one of the inverse So here's SATS, EchoStar. You can see it's kind of been trailing off. We're looking for a turn. I don't really know where the bottom is. It's not really very stable yet, but as soon as that guy bottom swings up, we see opportunities, plenty of upside opportunity in SATS. Okay, so let's talk about UVXY. Somebody was asking about price targets to sell. Our strategy, and you'll see this, we have some videos about protecting your profits, how our strategy is for sells. Typically what I do is as, higher than our buy, so wherever we buy in, if we bought in at the bottom, as something moves through these pivot points, I will typically put a stop limit below the pivot point, the previous pivot point, either one or two levels down based on the ATR, the average to range, or its volatility, as you can see in the charts. So I don't usually put an upper price target, although I shouldn't say that because let's take a look at somebody else. Let me see if SVXY, I have an upper one. What I'll do is I'll find the peak resistance point and I'll put a take profit at that. So let's say SVXY is, okay, so it's here in the 40s or so, is a resistance point. So I may put a take profit order there, and then I will trail it with a stop limit like I was showing in UVXY. So my stop limit will be trailing, and then my take profit will be at a resistance level at a peak. So I hope that helps and makes sense. Nice thing in Webull and some of the other ones is you can have bracket orders. One cancels other orders. So I can put that take profit at the high point and then keep updating the stop limit piece of that bracket order as it crosses subsequent pivot points. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope that helps. So here's similarly VXX, which again is just another way to long volatility. We can see it's run up. You can see the profiles of these two, although they both run up, so they're similar. They are a little bit different. Again, their strategies are a little different. So VXX bottomed here, and UVXY, it didn't go quite as low as its previous bottom. So I thought that was interesting. Douglas PC asked, does TDTOS have these pivot points? Yes. There's a, what do they call it, a study or something. I think it's called pivot points. I can't show that today. One of these days, I can bring up Thinkorswim and also show the pivot points there. But yes, I use the pivot points in Thinkorswim and in Webull. Just another thing to note, and I think I've commented on this before, is you'll notice that the values, the levels for the pivot points in TD Thinkorswim may be different from those shown in Webull. And I've asked the questions, and it has something to do with their data feed, the data they're using, how they're averaging it. But the pivot point or a support resistance level you see in Webull may be at a slightly different level than what you see in TD or Thinkorswim. And essentially, when I'm setting my stops, I use the lowest of those two. So if showing 874 as support 1, if TD shows it as 872, then I would probably put my stop limit at 871, and I again want to stay a penny or two below that, because otherwise your stop could get hunted. They have a tendency, as you could see, here's a good example. They spike it down just below that pivot point, catch somebody's stops, and then they turn around and run it back up. So again, you don't want to sit right at a pivot point. And again, I have some more discussion and videos about protecting your profits. So I hope that helps, and I won't babble about it more right now. Maybe we'll do further videos in this topic. I think it's called, Walter's asking, I think it's called pivot points. Again, I'll when I get back in my office, I'll look and maybe post it in the Discord or do a video on using pivot points in Thinkorswim. Yes, Walter, there is a formula. In fact, I've been meaning to do a video on pivot points, how they're calculated, etc. Yes, there's a particular formula to calculate these support and resistance levels, and essentially it's based on the average true range, the previous high and low for the day. Again, I'll bring up the particular formula and probably do a video specifically on that area. So I hope that helps. So again, I don't want this to get too long, especially if I lose connection. But so our bullpen stocks that I'm adding for this week, here's an interesting one. Again, it popped up in one of my screeners as being attractive, and it's a security protection services. It's out of Ireland. As you'll see, it looks kind of attractive. Looks like it bottomed, but it seems to be holding up. We'll take a look at it in a second. EXPI this one's interesting as well. I found this because it showed up on FinViz's homepage as having a multiple bottom. So this may, warrant some further due diligence, but the multiple bottom looked interesting. And again, real estate's been declining, but for a potential turnaround play, we're watching that. Another one, if you've been around for a while, that we really like is Realty Income Corporation. You'll hear a lot about this particular REIT. It's what they call a dividend aristocrat. They continuously have increased their dividends for a long period of time. It's a monthly dividend paying REIT. We've traded in and out of this guy and collected dividends quite often over the years, and it happens to be coming down. We'll look at it in the charts. Again, I like, you'll see where I like it, and it is coming down, but it doesn't look like it's stabilized at a bottom right now. We talked about SATS. We moved up to our bullpen, and we'll also talk about semiconductors. SOXL is the long on semiconductors. SOXS is the short on semiconductors, and we've played semiconductors short for a while. It looks like it may be approaching a bottom, and we might want to swing the other way and go long on semiconductors. And I did see some news that there was someone stated there was an earthquake in Taiwan. I haven't confirmed that news, but I know there's also a typhoon in Japan, so I don't know if that will impact the semiconductor industry further, so there might be some downside. So I'm just checking the comments to see if anybody's confirming that earthquake or has any questions. So, and good morning, Flip of the Shippa. Thank you also for joining us. If I missed Alan Krentz, thank you for joining us. And there's that CHNA that we looked at in our watch list. So let's look at our bullpen real quickly. Again, just another watch list I keep in Webull, and just flip over there. Here's this Irish security, and this is a hardware type security, doors and things like that. You can see it's been declining recently, so I'm waiting for it to show a bottom. It looks like it's got plenty of upside. Looks like it's a potential turnaround play. It does pay a dividend. So again, if you're looking for dividends, which again, that's something else we can talk about in terms of increasing interest rate environment, I think you're going to see increased attention into dividends, higher dividends. Okay, somebody confirmed, yes, a major earthquake in Taiwan, so that may impact semiconductor supply, right? With Taiwan Semi, etc., as well as other things. So that's good to know. Thank you for confirming that. So here's that real estate one, EXPI. So again, you see it's been declining. Looks like it's stabilized. Looks like it did a multiple bottom here. Look at a shorter time frame. So again, it looks like, it's multiple bottom. We're waiting for that swing up to confirm the bottom. So far, it's been making, lower highs. It looks like, maybe it'll come down to this lower support level. This S2 level looks pretty supportive. Okay, here's Realty Income. Again, we've traded Realty Income over the years. You can see, recently it did pop up on Friday. It bottomed at 63. I probably should have bought it at 63. I like it at 62. Anywhere below 65 is pretty good for Realty Income. You see it has this very reliable cycle. It goes between, anywhere below 65 up to the low 70s, and it cycles on a regular basis, which is great for a swing trader, which, that's what we are. So when this guy comes down, I may even buy it, where it's at, if it just retraces a little bit to 63, but the recent low is 61, 63. So anywhere on 62 is a great buy. Again, they pay a monthly dividend. I believe the next dividend is let's see if I've got it. Should be about the 29th. So if you buy before September 29th, you'll get the next monthly dividend. And again, they pay a monthly dividend. It's pretty nice. So, and then you can also get the price appreciation So you buy it down here, wait for it to cycle back up in the 70s. You get the price appreciation as well as the monthly dividends in the meantime. Should also be a REIT play. Yeah, always a REIT play. And they do like convenience stores and things like that. It's not mortgage based. They're not. Kramer talked about them the other day as well. Again, a very popular one. He was actually very positive on most people tend to be. So, and again, SOXL is the long on semiconductors, and we just talked about that there may be an issue with supply, so that may be the catalyst to swing semiconductors back up, even though we know tech in general, particularly the U.S. semiconductors have been declining. So again, it looks like, we might be approaching a bottom or at a bottom and get a swing back up in semiconductors. So right now it's in the bullpen. We'll see if it's going to turn up or continue down. And again, these are great, opportunities for day trade, shorter term trades. We're looking at it for a swing, but you can see they're pretty volatile. So when they pump tech up, SOXL is going to go up. When they push tech down, you can see this gap down. So when they push the NASDAQ down, sentiment's negative on tech, SOXL is going to go down, SOXS is going to go up. So okay, about CHNA as a China biopharma play. Again, I'm a little concerned about its illiquidity and choppiness, but it is a potential thesis along with China tech for a recovery. And so now let's look at our ETF spreadsheet. Again, our Patreon members have access to this spreadsheet, to a whole folder of additional benefits. And again, then you can access it, make copies, etc. Anytime you want. And just a note, something I added to this spreadsheet this week is I added a change, a low and a high from the Google Finance functions, and trade time to the sector sheet. So I'll show that in a second. And I'm probably going to, I added trade time to the ETF sheet, and that tells you the time of the last trade. And I found that helpful in addition to the data delay. And I think I'm probably going to add these columns as well to the ETFs spreadsheet. But since that is updated from some of my other codes, some further automation, I need to coordinate those changes with the updates to the automation to make sure nothing breaks. So if anyone has an opinion as to whether you'd find that additionally helpful, please let us know in the comments below, in the Discord, etc. So I'll look at the sectors sheet and I'll just show you what I was talking about in terms of adding the change. So the change will tell me how much it's changed during that particular day. And then I've got the daily low, the daily high, so I can see, relatively, okay, the current price is there. Is it close to the daily low? Is it close to the daily high? Where is that relative to the 52-week low and high? So again, just gives me a little more insight as to, okay, this tells me it's green, consumer staples and real estate is green, but where is it? Is it near its high for the day? Is it near its high for the 52-week, or is it just oscillating up and down, chopping up and down in its range? And again, there's the trade time, so I can see, when was this last updated? When was the last trade for that sector? So again, I think there may be some value in that information as well for a particular ETF. But I found that useful to see, looking for sector rotation. We can see if it's reaching a high, maybe we're expecting a rotation, out of that sector into something that's, closer to its low. So here's a good example. Energy, they pushed down on Friday. It was close to its low. It's not got a whole lot of range, but it's nowhere near its 52-week low. It's closer probably to its high. So if anybody has other particular sectors you want to look at in the ETF spreadsheet, we can look at those. Otherwise, I'll whip through relatively quickly. Again, I'm looking for risk rewards, near term, immediate, over 2, from support to resistance over 2, ideally 52-week over 2. We see ARC is saying it's attractive, but I'm not real hip, not real bullish on ARC given the pressure on technology. So that's one I would skip. Just checking to see if anyone wants to look at something particular in the chat. So again, I whip through these at the end of the day, particularly, or even midday, see if there's something that's looking attractive at this time. We talked about Yang. There's the down on China. You could see it's close. It's close to its resistance, so it's not showing up as a good risk reward profile. But the long on China, and it's even below its support level, so I need to update that. So if I say, okay, let's say it's 51.48 is the support level. Then we'll see now the risk reward profile looks much more attractive right now. Okay, just checking for comments. So again, we saw BDRY ran up. It had an attractive risk reward. We were watching it, but it's above, significantly above the support level that we would like to see it at. I've been looking at emerging markets, but again, they're going to be under a lot of pressure with the strong dollar, rising interest rates, etc. I'm a little hesitant, and it's quite a bit away from support. Possibly we'll talk more about emerging markets and the global recession. That was a topic we talked about a little bit yesterday and probably warrants further discussion. There's our EURL, which you can see why we're watching it. It's got a nice risk reward profile. 1350 is, where we had our line for our price target. So we're definitely looking at opportunities along EURL. Something I talked about yesterday as well is if you're not already in gold or silver, there's opportunities that look like, they've been pushing gold down. It went down to a 2-year low. You'll hear a lot of people talk about that, getting into gold, you should be a portion of your portfolio in gold. We're pretty heavy in gold. We've got sizable positions in GLDI. If you want to get monthly dividends, that pays a nice monthly dividend. In gold, the silver version is SLVO. We've got a significant position in that one. And we also have a position in GDXU, so that's more of a swing scalp position. If you want to play the momentum, play the swing, scalp gold on the way up, you can use GDXU. And you can see in the spreadsheet there's a number of these that you can swing gold up or down either way. So silver, we were trying to use AGQ, as you'll see. But silver's run up a little bit quicker than gold, so that does not currently show a positive risk reward profile. Here's SQQQ and TQQQ. Swing the NASDAQs. Again, there's ways you can profit up or down in any market, bull, bear, etc. And again, we've talked about this, I guess, all year is, you can play short-term day trade, momentum trade, breakout trade, scalp, etc. If you're nimble, you can, flip these guys. If they're pushing it up, you can run TQQ or the similars for the S&P, for the Russell, etc. When it turns down, you can go SQQQ, as Douglas PC said he's been doing well with. And yes, Lab U and Lab D are the biotechs. So if we look real quickly, Douglas PC was asked about biotech. So here's Lab U. It looks attractive. It's quite a bit away from the support. Profile looks, pretty good. Again, I would prefer it down here for a big swing. So if they really push it down, it would be more attractive to me. But again, Lab D, Lab U are just another ones you can swing, scalp, etc. So you can see Lab D is pretty close to its resistance, so it's not showing attractive. Lab U is showing more attractive. But again, I'd prefer it closer to its support. Again, so I hope that helps. And we talked about semiconductors, SOX L and SOX S. So again, L is more attractive. It's close to a support. SOX S has been running up, so it's not showing very attractive right now. But we had made money swinging semiconductor short using SOX S. Now we're looking at possibly catching the bottom on SOX L and swinging that one back up. Talked about silver, AGQ we made some money with, but right now it's run up is closer to its resistance points. So been running so left. There's this raise and there's TAN. I know TAN is probably the most popular solar ETF, most common. There's also this raise. Currently, it's showing a better risk reward, but it's not really all that great from a support to resistance level. I like to see those two or better. So Treasuries, Tanavir was asking yesterday, and I know his general interest in Treasuries. We've talked about TLT. You can kind of see where TLT, it's very close to a support level, essentially a bottom. 52-week low. It's very close to its 52-week low. Say with TMF, we're currently long TMF. So you can see these are the 20-year treasuries. They've been driving the price down, yield up to compensate for the rates. If the Fed hikes, which we expect, at least 75 basis points to go up to compensate for that Fed rate. So we would expect yields to go up, prices come to the Fed as well. So bottom 2 years really, they're really driving the yields way up because of the increased interest rates. So stream dropping, the Wi-Fi instability. Hopefully. Okay, so I was talking about treasuries. If anyone has any further questions about treasuries, we can talk about it further. Again, there are ways to play treasuries down. You can see they're not currently very attractive. TLT and TMF are showing attractive. TYD, but again, the support to resistance isn't all that great, but the current opportunity risk reward is somewhat attractive. So we are long TMF currently. And again, we're kind of waiting for that turn. They've been driving bond prices down. Eventually, it'll turn back up. So, yeah, TLT, I don't think it's a short. We talked about that before because it's so close to the 52-week low. There's more upside than downside. We've talked about that before as well. So we looked at the ZROZ before. It doesn't really look that attractive. It's actually below its support. And we talked about the VIX. We're watching UVXY and VXX. You can see both of them are showing it's very attractive. They have a little bit different profiles. Right now, VXX looks a little better. Looks better from a support resistance standpoint, but from a 52-week UVXY looks better. You see where the 52-week high is. You can see where my resistance level is. So someone was asking, where would you sell? Right now, if I had to put a take profit, I'd put it at 22.48, right? Is the resistance point that I'm looking at, and I wouldn't buy it, currently, unless you want to do a day trade, short-term trade, because it's they've run the volatility up and it's retracing. So again, day trading, scalping, breakout trading is very different from swing trading in terms of what you're looking at and what may or may not be useful. So again, we hope this information helps all kinds of traders. And that is a topic I wanted to talk about. I meant to talk about it, I think, last week, and I'll jump ahead to that in a second. Shopping list. Again, you should have, as they're driving the markets down, eventually they're going to bottom. Have your shopping list. What stocks did you always want to buy? Because you may get that opportunity. The keys are make sure that your stocks and your shopping list are going to be recession proof. Here's our series of previous strategies on recession proofing your portfolio. You can access those all via the links in our notes. And I've also added this series that I recently completed, which was our strategy on how to make money when interest rates rise. So again, you want to make sure that your shopping list is going to fit the theme that we've got rising interest rates, and they're going to continue to rise for some period of time. So you want to look at these strategies as to stocks you're buying, are they going to make money in a rising interest rate environment? So again, as a bonus for watching this game plan, you review all those previous strategies that we've talked about in terms of recession. So again, I wanted to just mention before I answer questions and wrap up that, I just mentioned that, different types of trading make different things attractive, both in terms of risk reward, what you're looking at, what you're watching, where the opportunities are, and it helps if someone is asking me, and please, do this going forward, is if you're asking me, what do you think of stock XYZ? Well, it depends. That's the consultant answer. And I think I posted that response a number of times. Is what are you looking at it in terms of? Are you looking at XYZ a long-term investment? Because that's very different from a hold or a longer-term swing trade versus a day trade, a momentum, a breakout, or a scalp trade. When you're talking about short-term trades, day trades, etc., you don't care so much about the fundamentals, the profitability, etc., of that company, as long as it's moving in the direction that you're trying to trade it. If you're trying to long it, is the momentum there, etc. If you're scalping it, now, even with day trades, if it's running up and you know that they've got a shelf offerings, right? So risks are, but again, long-term profitability is not a major concern at that point. So I hope that all helps and makes sense. Trying to see if I got disconnected. talking about Ethereum and NVIDIA, etc. And again, we've looked at NVIDIA, and we like NVIDIA from a conceptual technology, etc. standpoint. It's too very expensive. I mentioned, if you're asking about a particular stock, what I think about it, what I think of the setup, the technical analysis for it at a given time, it helps to know what type of trading are you looking at that particular stock for. So please let me know. Are you looking at it for a long-term buy and hold type investment? And also, are you looking at it to generate income? You're looking for dividends, or are you looking for price appreciation? Are you looking for a swing, or is this just a day trade, a scalp, a breakout trade? Again, different things are going to be attractive depending on the type of trading with which you're trying to make money. And I could try to answer those. Again, we're much more of a swing trader than a day or a breakout momentum, but I can at least try to answer those questions. So I apologize if the audio and the video got a little bit out of sync. I see Tanaver's asking about, is there any way to play DXY? Again, DXY is dollar strength. So we looked at, and we did a whole video on, or a weekly trading game plan on trading, making money with the strong dollar, all of our strategies with, what if the dollar goes up, what goes up, and what goes down, and vice versa. Now, if you want to play the US dollar directly, I have just a down. I don't have a ETF to play the dollar up. Again, the dollar's extremely high right now, so I wasn't terribly interested on longing the dollar. If you want to short the dollar, there's this UDN, and again, near term, it has an attractive risk-reward profile, but it doesn't move a whole lot, so it only moves 17 to 20, 17 to 18. Again, not terribly attractive, so I wasn't terribly interested in that. Now, if you want to look for an ETF to be able to trade DXY, the US dollar directly, I would recommend the ETF database. That's what I would do, is go to the ETF database and see if there's a long on the US dollar. I'm sure there is. If you want to long, Jennifer's asking about DXY long. DXY is a futures, right? So to directly long a foreign currency, any type of currency, you're talking about the Forex market, and or again futures. And right now, I'm not trading either futures directly or the Forex markets. These ETFs are indirectly a way to do that because they're trading in futures, etc. And I'm trading the ETF. So again, I'm interested in those markets. I just haven't had the time to pursue that further. So Douglas says UUP is the long DXY. Okay, thank you, Douglas. I appreciate that. So essentially, I can plug that in. And again, I want to wrap this up pretty quick, but essentially, the nice thing about this spreadsheet and these Google Finance functions is it's easy to, I have a template row in here somewhere, and I'll just copy the template row, and then I'll plug UUP in there. And although I won't have all of the data, I just plug UUP and say, okay, that's US dollar up. And there we can at least see, okay, the current price is 29.40. It's close to its high, so it's very close to its 52-week high. So again, if you were talking about longing the dollar, you're very close to the 52-week high resistance point. So again, I wouldn't find that terribly attractive right now. Granted, the dollar could continue to strengthen, but again, one would expect resistance at that high point and for it not to go, extremely a lot higher eventually. It may keep going higher, but there's going to be strong resistance there. Yeah, somebody's betting that it's going to go up significantly by January 2023. Yeah, maybe, we'll see. So, okay, I appreciate again all your patience. I hope that you found this information helpful. Please, give us a thumbs up if you find this type of information beneficial. I hope that you've already subscribed to our BeachBum Trading YouTube channel. Join us in the Discord. We can continue these discussions in our Discord. Our Discord is free to join. You can find the link in the description box below, as well in the link section on our homepage, beachbumtrading.com, bum without the U. So again, we can continue. If you have further questions, you can put them in the comments below this video. Ask in the Discord via our social media, etc., and I'll try to answer as I am able. So again, thank you. Again, I apologize for the Wi-Fi issues while we're traveling, and I appreciate all of you hanging in there, and I hope that the information is helpful. So have a great rest of your weekend. Have a great trading week. Good luck, and have a great day. Bye.